Yeah, I think back.
Dada, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. So I'm just starting, muting you. Yeah. So let's start with the prayer first. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mriturma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning and welcome to another session of Spirituality Basics. And took a break last week because it was as I mentioned, the International Yoga Day, and locally I had to take a session. And today's topic is, in fact, we already started. We every time we start the session, we start with a prayer. It's the one of the most popular prayers, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, end with a prayer, and then in the end we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, as you must be knowing, the three Shantis we invoke, three types of peace. So first is for our, the personal peace, which is the adhyatmika. The our peace that has to do with your own person as such. Your illness, your suffering, your everything, so that let you be at peace. Second piece is adi bhautika. Adi bhautika is the world around us. It is outside you. That's the physical world around us. There are so many things happening in the world, so you would just say that peace to everybody, peace to everything. In fact, all human beings, creatures, other creatures, everybody. And the third is adi daivika. Adi daivika, the peace is for it is the cosmic and divine forces. I mean, save us from you. We pray to God to save us to be at peace from the cosmic and divine forces. And here, like in the unfortunate, we heard about the earthquake in Venezuela. So that's very unfortunate. That's the cosmic and divine forces, like your earthquakes, floods, and some certain things we can do nothing about. So, but today's topic, again, as I said, is very important. Today, we'll explore one of humanity's oldest and most universal practices. It's been going in for centuries, thousands of years, and it is prayer. And if you find that across civilizations, across cultures, across religions, and prayer has been the constant companion of our human journey. It's been there since ages. So if you classify them, whether it is a child whispering before the sleep, a monk in deep meditation, even a scientist contemplating the mysteries of the universe, or even a patient who is praying from his hospital bed. So basically, prayers, you can say, it transcends, uh, all boundaries of language, geography, and belief. But today we live in a scientific world, and I try to integrate my spiritual topics with science. So, in a scientific world, an important question arises in all of us: does prayers actually work? Do they work? Can science measure its effects? Do prayers, influence the brain, the body, our emotions, or even the reality itself? Can it influence, or is it just a psychological comfort. It gets you in a comfort zone. So today we will examine, these questions from, two complementary perspectives, which is the modern science, neuroscience, and our ancient spiritual wisdom. So basically, the goal is not to prove one side right and the other wrong. In fact, when I was initially when I was designing the poster, so I put the tagline as the science effect versus the spiritual effect. So it was sort of competing. Then at the last moment, after I finished preparing for it, I realized that it's basically they are not competing with each other. Rather, they complement each other very well. Because science, what does science ask? Science asks us, does prayer affect, as I mentioned, does it affect your brain, your body, your behavior? And on the other side, what spirituality asks is, how does prayer transforms consciousness and the human spirit, the transformative part. So they actually do not compete. And science, in fact, actually, it's been quite helpful and it provides methods to measure observable effects. I mean, effects which can be observed. And science helps us in measuring these. And basically, what I mean to say is that these go beyond just a feeling of well-being. Whereas spirituality, on the other hand, it explores the meaning, the purpose, the values, and the lived experience. You actually live those experiences. So today we will examine how science and spirituality often illuminate different dimensions of the same human experience. We can call them just two differing dimensions of the same experience. But the main thing which is to be noticed by you and is the how vast the scope of prayer is. Because when we think of prayer, we limit our understanding or imagination of the prayer to maybe chanting mantras, doing japas, doing pujas, ritualistic puja. So this is where we straitjacket prayer in. But today we will see how vast it is and how powerful tool it is, and so powerful that it has the potential, the ability to transform your entire life. That's how powerful it is. Finally, as I mentioned, we will have a 12 minutes. It's exactly timed at 12. And it's been recorded because I had to put background music to it for proper effect. So I've recorded it. So I will play it out, and it will be a guided meditation based on gratitude prayer. Gratitude, which is a very important aspect of prayer. So let's begin. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, that the prayer is humanity's one of the oldest practices, maybe the oldest. So, whether you agree or not, we all pray. I mean, I'm sure all of you will agree that we all pray, and in the visible form. I mean, not in the abstract form, but in the visible form, we all pray. And this happens irrespective of whether you believe in God or not. That means whether you are a theist or even an atheist, you do pray. Though the atheist, as we know, they do not believe in traditional prayers. I mean, they don't go to the temple, They don't believe in God as such, and they don't go and make a prayer before the God asking for something, but they do engage in meditative reflection. They do express their gratitude. This has got nothing to do with uh, the normal kind of prayer that we associate it with. Or they find in comfort in quiet, hopeful contemplation. That's prayer. That's prayer even for the atheist. So now, what exactly, if we want to give a definition, and it is a very broad definition. So, what exactly is prayer? So you can say it's a conscious act. Firstly, it's a conscious act of communicating with the divine. Divine, comma, it doesn't end there, or the supreme reality or a higher power expressed. And how the communication is expressed through words, through silence, even silence, your thoughts, feelings, emotions. So that's how wide the scope of prayer is. It's a conscious act of communication where you're communicating with either with the divine or with the supreme reality or with a higher power. You believe that yes, there is a higher power, higher energy which is there, which may not be the God in the form that you understand. God with an image, Saguna Brahman. Let's say in the case of Advaita Vedanta, when you say Aham Brahmasmi, so it's exactly that. So basically, it's an expression of the heart and mind. So you see, heart and mind, through which we seek some sort of a the connection, some sort of a guidance, strength, gratitude, forgiveness, implies forgiveness, or you can say simply the experience of being in the presence of the sacred. You just enjoy the company of God. So at its deepest level, prayer is not merely asking for something, which we normally associate it with. That when you are praying, that means you are asking for something. It's a relationship. It's a relationship. It's a movement of the human soul towards the divine. And asking is, of course, is one part of it, but it's not all. And as I said, throughout history, people of every culture, every religion, they have prayed. Although the forms differ, the essence remains the same. It's a way of transcending the limitations of ego. That's one of the important thing which prayer does to you. It transcends the limitations of your ego, opening yourself to a sort of a deeper reality, the true reality. And it is surely less about the language we use and more about how sincere you are in your prayers. So that is more important. So it is definitely more than just asking, which is a very narrow interpretation, which we usually give to prayers. Like you pray to God that if you have some ailments, some problem and suffering, you say, please heal me, please take away my suffering. Or if you have appeared in some examination, or something, so you pray to God that help me succeed. We tell our children that, oh, exam se pehle Bhagwan ko. We used to go, I still remember when I used to go for my this higher secondary exam. Our school was very near the New Delhi Kalibadi. So first we used to go to the Kalibadi, pray, and then, go to the exam hall. So that's how it is. And you even, seek all sorts of things. You seek protection for your family and well-being of your near and dear ones and everything, even in relationships. You think about relationships. So, as I said, while these are valid form of prayers, it's not that they are not prayers, but they represent a very limited and just one aspect of it. And I will say a very narrow and small aspect of it. Like if you look at the other side, prayers can also be an expression of gratitude, thanking the God for everything, a request for wisdom. These are on higher planes. Confession of mistakes. They say unless you confess to your mistakes, you will not be able to correct them. So confess your mistakes. There are confession chambers in the churches. Silent contemplation. Very powerful prayer. Silent contemplation of God. And this can happen. You need not sit before a deity or go to a temple for this. You can do it anytime and every time while doing your morning walk even. And finally, simply resting in the presence of the divine. As I said, enjoying the company of the divine. This, of course, comes at a much later stage, but it is there. You enjoy the company of the divine. So, as I said, the deepest prayer is not asking for anything at all. That is the deepest prayer, but opening oneself to transformation, to make you a better person. What does the confession do? You admit your fault and then you pray to God, give me wisdom and make me a better person. So that's what it is. Now, the prayers have, prayers have come to stay and it will stay forever. If you look at the nature of prayer, it is going to stay. And we do it consciously and unconsciously. What we are aware of is the conscious part, but even unconsciously, so many things we do, which can be, brought under the ambit of prayer. Now, first look at the science of it, as I mentioned, and how it affects us physiologically. Now, for thousands of years, prayer has been, regarded or labeled as a sacred act. It is a sacred act. No two doubts about it. That connects human being with the divine. That's the, in one-liner interpretation. But in recent times, neuroscience, because prayer has to do with the mind, so the branch of science which deals with it is neuroscience. It has begun exploring, another fascinating question, that what happens inside the human brain during prayer. Human brain is one of the most complicated organs. But what happens during prayer to our human brain, which is a matter, a physical part. So while neuroscience cannot determine whether God hears your prayers, of course, neuroscience cannot determine that, or whether the spiritual realities exist. But surely it can study, how prayer influences your brain, how it affects your nervous system, what impact it has on your emotions, your behavior. These are external manifestations. So these neuroscience can definitely study. The findings reveal that sincere, regular prayer can produce measurable changes in brain, measurable changes, because it's science. And it can measure the change in brain function and even reshape the brain through what you call neuroplasticity. It's the brain's ability to physically reorganize itself in response to repeated experiences. Now comes another term. We introduce another term. This is in the context of our discussion today, is neurotheology. It is the you can say, the interdisciplinary field that examines the connection between the human brain and on one side and religious and spiritual experiences on the other side. It's often called, you can say, spiritual neuroscience. Sometimes it is labeled as that. And it tries to investigate how the biological brain, the matter called brain, it processes and the feelings, the different feelings of awe, transcendence, of oneness with the universe, how it processes. So basically, it does not attempt to prove or disprove God. Instead, you can say it asks questions like what brain regions become active during prayer. Brain has clearly defined regions, and how do they behave during prayers? Can prayers alter brain structure over time? Neuroplasticity. And how does prayer influence uh, stress, emotions, and your well-being? These are measurable things. And the researchers, they use different tools like your fMRI, the functional magnetic resonance imaging, the PET scan, the EEGs, the electroencephalography, and heart rate variability measurements, and the hormonal analysis, which are your cortisol levels and all. So basically, these methods, using these tools, they allow scientists to observe how the brain responds to different forms of prayer. It allows the scientists to have the cause and effect relationship between prayer and what is the effect. So let's examine some of the impacts, what happens in the brain during prayer. Firstly, very important, it has to do with the prefrontal cortex, which is also mentioned as sometimes the command center of the brain, the CEO of the brain, the most important part located in the frontal side. So what it is responsible for, the PFC, it is responsible for the focused attention, the concentration, all the decision making that we make. All the time we are making decisions, and this part of the brain is responsible for making those decisions, planning, future planning, weighing options. Whenever you are faced with a situation, there are options. You can take this path or that path. And then you on your mind, you predict the outcomes. If I do this, this might be the outcome. If I do that, this might be the outcome. So you make decisions. Setting long-term goals, again, part of planning. You do indulge in, making long-term goals for various things. It helps you in judgment, good and bad, right and wrong. It's also very importantly responsible for the emotional regulation. It interprets your feelings, whether you are feeling good or bad. This is the the part of brain which tells you that. And also responding appropriately to rewards and punishments. How you should react to the various situations in life. So basically, it has to do everything to do with your behavior, everything to do with your self-control. So during deep focused prayer, it has been found by neuroscientists that activity in this region often increases. And what happens if the activity increases in this region? You have, basically the points that we discussed just now. It improves your concentration. It reduces your impulsive reactions, knee-jerk reaction. You respond rather than react. You become correctly judgmental about a situation. It strengthens your emotional balance. If you take the right decisions, if you do the right planning, it definitely strengthens your emotional balance through the right decision making. So it's a great impact that prayer has on the brain. We have discussed about the PFC. So it is said just like meditation. If you do regular prayer, it may strengthen the neural networks involved in attention and self-regulation. It will strengthen the your neural network, which are responsible for these things. Second is the other side. The flip side of PFC is the amygdala. Amygdala basically quietening the fear. The amygdala, it's a small part of the brain. It's not as big as the PFC. It's the brain's alarm center. It detects threats and triggers the body's fight or flight response. Whether you should fight a situation or scoot, run away from the situation. Again, something we encounter every day, these kind of situation. So it's the alarm center of the brain. And it has been found that during sincere contemplative prayer, again, we are talking of every time I am, qualifying my statement, sincere contemplative prayer. Studies have found that it reduces amygdala activity. So on one side, it increases PFC activity and it reduces amygdala activity. And as a result, your anxiety decreases, your fear lessens, your the stress response becomes more manageable, and you become more calm, and you can say your feeling of safety increases. In fact, this explains why people instinctively, they turn to prayer in times of crisis. We all do. In times of crisis, we resort to prayer. So, next. Yeah. Next comes your default mode network, DMN. Again, we have had a separate session on it earlier, so I'll not go into too much detail. So basically what this does is it does a lot of it produces self-talk, and a lot of daydreaming, lot of rumination. What if? if only situation. So what this contemplative and focused prayer does is that it quietens this mental chatter, which many times may not be good for your emotional health. It can result in stress. It can result in depression. So, and scientists have also, they have discovered measurable biochemical changes. The body produces chemicals, and they have observed these changes. The prayers, they say, they influences your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, blood pressure, heart rate variability, immune function. All these changes take place. Although at this stage more research is needed, but evidence suggests that sincere contemplative prayer, again I am all the time repeating this, sincere contemplative prayer positively affects physiological regulation. The effect is definitely positive, the physiological changes that happens, the prayers. Now, the science of gratitude prayer, very important aspect of prayer. In fact, that's what our this guided meditation session is all about. So among all forms of prayer, gratitude has received, considerable scientific attention. Cicero, if you look at what people said about gratitude, Cicero, the Roman orator and philosopher, of pre-Christ days. So he said that gratitude is not only the greatest one, but also the mother of all other remaining virtues. What a great positive statement. Whereas on the other hand, David Hume, the the Scottish philosopher, he wrote that, he puts it in a negative sense. He says that of all crimes that human creatures are capable of committing, the most horrid and unnatural is ingratitude. So he equates this to a crime, ingratitude, that you can commit. So what it does, why did I say that science is most interested? It increases the production of dopamine and serotonin. It has been found, which, as you know, our brain's natural mood regulators. So over time, this trains neural circuits to make the positive mood. They make it more accessible. Basically, what it does, it rewires your brain to naturally notice the more good things in everyday life. We always say the glass is half full or half empty. So what it does, it rewires your brain so that naturally, impulsively, instinctively, you notice the good things and not the bad things. A very important aspect of correct living, if you want to be happy about it. So gratitude shifts attention away from scarcity, which will always be there in any form, to abundance. As I said, look at glass as half full rather than half empty. So naturally, the psychologists, they have found that people who regularly practice gratitude, as a way of life, they are generally more happy. They have lower rate of depression. They sleep better. If you are happy and if you are not depressed, you will definitely sleep better. You have stronger relationships. You make less enemies, and you have more resilience. to become more tolerant in life. So, spiritually, gratitude is considered a very important transformative practice. So, in fact, many saints have taught us that gratitude itself is a prayer, an act of gratitude. So, instead of asking why this is happening to me, I mean, we often question. If you just look back for a second, we often ask this: why this is happening to me? मेरे ही साथ ऐसा क्यों होना था? Prayer changes the question. Situation remains the same, but prayer changes the question to what is life trying to teach me? A shift in your thought. This subtle shift, profoundly changes your emotional well-being greatly. Next comes, again, a very important aspect, the placebo effect, the placebo question. Because critics, they often say that prayer works only because of the placebo effect. And what does placebo do? Placebo, what it does, it demonstrates the remarkable capacity of the mind to influence the body. It's a fact. It is it's a, you can say, psychobiological phenomenon where a patient's physical or mental health, both physical and mental health, it improves after receiving, something and some inactive substance or even a fake treatment. Studies have shown. And this is just driven by the uh, patient's expectation, patient's belief in the treatment, that it invokes these chemical changes in the brain, like the release of endorphins. These are body's natural painkillers, or blocking your pain signals, triggering a false sense of pleasure. That's what placebo does. It's a great tool. So belief can affect both ways. It can affect your pain perception, because pain is a perception. It's a feeling. It can affect that. It affects your immune responses. It affects your stress levels. It can reduce your stress levels, and all this together, it can it can positively affect your healing experience. And there are umpteen examples of this placebo effect. So if prayer activates positive expectations, reduces fear, and promotes healthier behavior, these effects are still genuine biological phenomena. If his prayer is having all these placebo effects, but actually it's happening. You are feeling less pain. Your disease is healing, which you cannot ignore. So from a scientific point of view, they see the visible effects. These are all visible effects, and how benefits arise is important. That is important. So what you have just seen, that about what the science's understanding of prayer. Now come to the spiritual science of prayer, the spirituality part of it. And prayer, as we know, that it is one of the oldest and most profound spiritual practices. Prayer occupies a very important place in all spiritual practices, known to humanity. And it goes beyond, reciting a few sacred words or mantras or asking for some divine favors from your God. And it surely transforms the person who prays. That is the biggest takeaway of prayers in the spiritual realm. So, what it does, it transforms the human mind and heart, fosters a living relationship with the divine. How beautiful. It awakens one's highest spiritual potential. Everything, what we are trying to do in spirituality basics, and you're all spiritual seekers. So this is, prayer is doing all these things to you. In Bhagavad Gita, everywhere we found that devotion, devotion, devotion. Shri Krishna all the time says, surrender unto me. Prayers purifies the mind and aligns the individual with the divine. The Upanishads, they describe that the deepest prayer as, what it does, realizing the unity of the individual self with the universal self, Atman with the Brahman. In Bhakti Yoga, heartfelt devotion, it says it gradually dissolves your ego-centeredness, this I factor. Even in Christianity, if you look at Christianity, prayer is often understood as the aligning one's will with God's will. In Sufism, prayer takes the form of a loving remembrance. So, a person who prays regularly surely becomes calmer. He becomes more kind, more patient, more forgiving, and less fearful. You sort of transcend a lot of your these worldly sufferings. These inner transformations, because these are all inner transformations, they are very difficult to quantify, but still they are, among the most widely reported results of spiritual practice. Next. Now let's come a few points, and although they are overlapping, 9:15, I'll just hurry up. There are a lot of it is overlapping, but still it is worthwhile to note them as an independent point. So basically, the importance of prayer in spirituality. If you have to pinpoint, just these are pointers. So firstly, prayer is a bridge between the human and the divine. Every spiritual tradition, it teaches that prayer is a way of connecting with a higher reality. When we said the definition of prayer, it three things: connecting with the divine, connecting with a higher energy, and connecting with the supreme reality. So it's a way of connecting. So it allows an individual to transcend the limitations of the ego. Very important. And enter, because unless you transcend your ego, you cannot enter into a good relationship with the infinite, with the relationship with the divine. You have to overcome, transcend, shed your ego. In Hinduism, the prayer is called upasana. And upasana, if you see the literal meaning, it literally means sitting near the divine. Physically sitting near the divine. That's what upasana means. Not merely requesting blessings, but cultivating a real closeness to God. Upasana. So, and this is in all religions. You develop a relationship with the supreme power, the higher energy. So despite differences in form, the essence remains the same. The prayer what it does, it bridges the gap between the finite and the infinite, which is God. Secondly, prayer purifies the mind. The ancient spiritual masters, they have consistently taught us that the greatest obstacle to spiritual realization is not the external world, it is the restless, ego-centered mind. That is our problem. And हम अंदर झांक के नहीं देखते, we look at the outside world. That's where our problem is. So basically what prayer does, it gradually transforms and purifies the mind. So you with sincere prayer, you can, the thoughts of selfishness, it gives way to compassion. Your anger becomes forgiveness. Your anxiety become trust, and all sorts of things. Let's say in Bhakti Yoga, prayer is regarded as a powerful purifier of the heart, of the soul. Chitta Shuddhi, it is called, purification of the mind. And it said as the mind becomes purer, and then only, it becomes fit for the higher knowledge and meditation. With an impure mind, you just cannot meditate. Many times when we say we cannot meditate, the actual answer is not the process of meditation, it is the impurity in our mind. Thirdly, prayer cultivates humility. Very important. Modern life, often reinforces the illusion that we are in complete control. That's we think. I have my life in control. But prayer gently reminds us that while, the effort is essential, you have to make an effort. But there are many aspects of life that remain and will remain beyond our control. So here, humility is not weakness, it is clarity. Looking at things at the right perspective. So you can say, I will do my best. It's not that you stop doing your best, but I surrender to the results, to a higher wisdom. That's how you should look at things. Prayer develops faith and inner strength. So faith is not a blind belief. Spirituality, faith, Shraddha, you can say, it's a deep trust that one is supported even during uncertainty. That's one of the biggest takeaway for prayer. Prayer strengthens your trust. During illness, during grief, your loss of your near and dear ones, the prayers provides you with an inner anchor. We do pray, all of us, in these times, in difficult times. So what it does, if you look at it, while the external circumstances remain unchanged, they will happen as per, they're not in your control. People will die, people will fall sick, there will be tension. But the person praying often discovers the resilience. It develops the resilience, the courage, and hope to face the situation. Again, transformation. Fifth point, prayer helps quiet the ego. As I said, the most spiritual traditions, they identify the ego. And what is ego? This constant sense of I, me, and mine. Man. As they identify this as the principal source of suffering. Our ego. And what prayer does, it redirects attention from self-centeredness, which is the ego, towards something which is greater. Instead of asking, what do I want? Prayer becomes, what is the highest good? So that's what it is. Prayer opens the heart. It's not merely an intellectual exercise, it's an expression of the heart. When offered sincerely, prayer, again, sincere contemplation of prayer, it awakens gratitude in your heart, love in your heart, kindness in your heart, compassion in your heart, reverence in your heart. So this is what it does to you. These are the qualities which are, these are signs of genuine spiritual growth. If you have these qualities, you are making spiritual progress. Prayer reduces mental agitation. This is again the natural byproduct, you can say. Because our mind constantly oscillates between past regrets. ये होता तो ये क्या होता, ये होता तो ये नहीं होता. If I had taken him in time to the right hospital, he would have survived. All sorts of past regrets. But it was not to happen. We don't look at that. But anyway, so this is a situation of what if and if only syndrome, and coupled with our endless desires. So what prayer does, it redirects your attention towards the present moment. It helps you to live mindfully. So it becomes the peaceful state of mind which results from prayer. It becomes a solid foundation for meditation and contemplation. Next, prayer prepares the mind for meditation. Again, the same points. It's a you can say doorway to meditation. Prayer engages the emotions, whereas meditation refines the awareness, and together they complement each other very well. The prayer and meditation, and a heart. It said the heart filled with devotion. A person who prays and naturally settles into silence, which is what meditation is all about. Prayer encourages gratitude, and it is sometimes called, I like the term, reciprocal altruism. Reciprocal altruism. So, because most people pray, including all of us, only during difficulties. But the saints recommend that praying equally during times of joy, being thankful. So that's how gratitude, can transform your outlook towards life. Again, instead of focusing towards scarcity, you are focusing for abundance. Next, prayer brings meaning to suffering. Apparently, it looks very dichotomous. It brings meaning to suffering. One of spirituality's deepest insight is that suffering can become a catalyst for growth. Suffering can become a catalyst for growth, your spiritual growth. Because prayer does not always remove pain. It cannot remove pain, the physical pain. Instead, it changes your relationship with pain. Rather than asking why this is happening, prayer says that, what can I learn from this? The shift leads to acceptance, resilience, and again, I am saying inner transformation. 11th, prayer leads to self-transformation, and the greatest miracle of prayer is not external change. It is the inner transformation. Because externally, the world is not within our control, but the inner change which takes place, that is what prayer does. And this transformation is recognized across spiritual traditions as prayers, as I said, deepest spiritual fruits, the most important fruit of spirit. Prayer helps in self-realization in Vedanta. That's the ultimate purpose. All of us, self-realization, life's one goal. So basically, prayer plays an important preparatory role in this. Not exactly the final role, but a preparatory role. As I mentioned, it purifies the mind, chitta shuddhi, develops concentration, reduces attachment. nurtures devotion. So what it does, these qualities, they make the mind capable of receiving the liberating knowledge of the Upanishads. It prepares the ground, because unless the plinth is strong, the building will be weak. It will just collapse. So though it is not the final goal in Vedanta, but it is an indispensable means for many seekers, to the path of self-realization. Finally, the highest prayer is silence. So now we have evolved, from asking for something to final is silence. Because many mystics, they believe that as spiritual maturity deepens, prayer evolves through different stages. First is spoken prayer. Then comes mental prayer, prayer in the mind, prayer of gratitude. Gratitude develops in a transformation happening. Prayer of surrender. Surrender to the God, surrender to the Almighty, surrender to the highest energy. And then finally, silent contemplation. You are enjoying the company of the divine. That's what it does. And then this state, it is no longer about words. It becomes it's just a state of awareness, where the distinction between the person who prays and the divine, it dissolves totally. It's the ultimate unity between the Atman and the Brahman. The Meister Eckhart, I mentioned there, the 13th century Christian mystic, he expressed this beautifully. He says, the eye with which I see God is the eye with which God sees me. The difference dissolves. So to conclude, basically what we have seen, that prayer is much more than a religious ritual, or you can say a list of requests we often make to God. It's a sacred dialogue. It's an inner discipline, a transformative practice. It's a relationship that you build with God that connects us with something which is greater than ourselves, transcending the ego. Whether it is expressed in words, through song, through meditation, mantra, japa, even silence, or even acts of compassion. Prayer has the power to quieten the mind, open the heart, and guide us to a life of which has a greater purpose and peace. So finally, as the practice matures, prayer gradually shifts from give me what I want, that's the initial dialogue, to help me become what I meant to be. So that's the shift, that's the transformation, the shift in thought that happens, because not merely it cannot change the circumstances, but it changes us, which is most important. So, right. So that was about the session. So let's have the guided meditation, although we have completed 1 hour, but quickly, just a 12-minute session. So let's all, sit in a comfortable position, and I will play the guided meditation audio. It's got a video also, but that's not important. You sit comfortably, close your eyes, and follow it. Sit in it. Can you just hear somebody say yes? Comfortable position. Can you hear?
Yes, Dada.
Is it audible?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay. Just get into the position. Okay. Sit upright with your spine gently aligned. Allow your hands to rest naturally on top of your knees, or you may place them on your lap. Gently close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in and exhale out very gently. Again, inhale as you breathe in peace. Exhale as you breathe out all tension. One more time. Inhale, exhale. A deep, nourishing breath in and a slow, slow breath out. Allow your breathing to settle into your own natural rhythm. There is nowhere to go, nothing to achieve, nothing to prove. For the next few minutes, simply allow yourself to be fully present. Today, we enter into the sacred space of gratitude. Not because life is perfect, but because every moment offers a gift only if we learn to see it. Now bring your attention to the top of your head. Allow your forehead to soften. Relax your eyebrows. Relax your eyes. Unclench your jaws. Allow your neck and shoulders to become loose. Imagine every exhalation melting away tension. Feel the relaxation flowing down your arms into your hands and fingertips. Now bring awareness to your chest. Notice your heartbeat. Your heart has been working faithfully since you were born. So silently whisper, "Thank you, my heart." Allow your breathing to become gentle. Thank your lungs for every breath you take. Thank your body for carrying you through every joy and every challenge. Feel the relaxation moving through your abdomen, your hips, your legs, your feet. Your entire body is becoming calm, comfortable, and peaceful.
Now simply observe your breathing. You do not have to control it. Just witness it. Each inhalation is a gift. Each exhalation is a letting go. Silently repeat, thank you for this breath. Thank you for this breath. Imagine every inhalation filling in with light. Every exhalation releases worry. With each breath, you receive life. With each breath, you offer gratitude. Allow gratitude to flow naturally with your breathing. Now gently bring to mind the many blessings of your life. You need not compare your life with anyone else's. Simply notice what is already present. Be grateful for this day, for the opportunity to awaken, for the miracle of consciousness, for the ability to learn, to grow, to love. Bring to mind the people who have touched your life, parents, teachers, friends, family, perhaps even strangers whose kindness made a difference. Silently say, thank you. Thank you all. Allow feelings of gratitude to spread through your heart. Now remember nature, the morning sun, the moon, the stars, the rain, trees, birds, flowing rivers, the vast sky. Feel yourself as part of this magnificent universe. Everything is interconnected. Silently pray, may I never lose the ability to appreciate life's simple gifts. Now allow these words to arise gently within you. Repeat them slowly, allowing each sentence to touch your heart. Dear Divine Presence, thank you for the gift of this life. Thank you for every breath. Thank you for every lesson, even the difficult ones. Thank you for every person who has helped me grow. Thank you for hope. Help me become an instrument of kindness. May my thoughts be pure. May my words bring healing. May my actions spread peace. Let gratitude become the foundation of my life. Let love become my true nature. May I live each day with humility, wisdom, compassion, and joy. Imagine your heart glowing with a warm golden light. Take one slow, deep breath in and gently breathe out. Notice how your body feels. Notice the quietness of your mind. Carry this feeling of gratitude into the rest of the day. Remember, gratitude is not something we do only in moments of prayer. It is a way of seeing the world. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, pause for a moment and simply whisper, "Thank you for this breath." May gratitude fill your heart. May peace guide your mind. May love illuminate your path. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that was the guided meditation. So I'll end with the prayer. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mriturma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thank you very much. Let me just, yeah. So that was it about prayer. If you have any thoughts, then just quickly share them.
Good morning, Dada.
Oh, good morning, Sharbani. Yes.
Ah, the today's topic was really interesting. Prayer is such a simple word. We have been hearing it since we are in our senses. कि भगवान से हाथ जोड़ के हाथ जोड़ो, पूजा करो, because that is how we grew up. But it has really got such inner meanings.
Yes.
Dada, ki matlab, now I'm realizing it. I'm realizing it so much. But Dada, there's one question. When you said prayer, it increases your dopamine levels, right? But Dada, in fact, I've seen people who do a lot of prayer, lot of puja part. They also go into depression. Why so?
Uh, as I said that deep contemplative prayer. I mean, they say a lot of prayers, yes, but your deep contemplative prayer is very important. Definitely,
Huh.
if you pray in the with the right mindset, surely it helps. But definitely, if you have already into depression and if you started, then you start praying, of course, it will not work. But it has to change your perspective towards life, and if you do it in the right perspective, If you look at the spiritual benefits of it, to purify your mind, to look at life from a right perspective. So definitely, the chances of going into depression reduces. I mean, I will
I
not say
know that,
it's a
Dada.
cure,
You know,
but
ah,
it reduces.
I've seen
Surely.
I've seen many people, I've seen many people who are very religious. They're always praying, they believe in God, that God is this and God is that. There's a lot of Ekadashis but still they go into depression. And to the level where in medical we have got the term Parkinsonism, where there is a dopamine depletion in the brain, so
Okay.
that then you become diseased, you have the tremors, you've got many dimension of it. So they land up with such things. So I have seen patients who come with these things, and they will tell you कि नहीं मैं बहुत पूजा पाठ पहले करती थी अब तो मैंने सब कुछ छोड़ दिया. You know? I know. So I fail to understand either they must not have gone to understand the depth that we came to know today, that when you pray, your dopamine increases. They don't know, patients don't know about the dopamine, and the depletion of dopamine is causing the diseases. So, Dada, matlab, I don't know. I feel very sad for the people who, in spite of knowing that prayer is good, when they really need it, they leave it.
Actually, I
So,
mean, the main thing is you should not do prayer with the aim of increasing your dopamine. If you do prayer for increasing your dopamine, that's not the right way of looking at it. I mean,
no, no,
these are
Dada,
these are these are just you can say the
scientific.
side effects of
No,
it.
no, sir. That has it is a scientific perspective. Because me as a doctor, I'm again contemplating that yes, that's a great thing, But you know, people don't understand. They don't get it. They say कि हमको मन नहीं कर रहा है इसलिए मैंने pray नहीं किया. How do you get to, sometimes it is very mind-boggling to make them understand. No, even if you don't feel like, if you go on praying, you will come to a level. They will not understand dopamine. I understand. They will not understand anything. But me as a doctor, I'm understanding that, okay, that dopamine depletion is causing the disease. Medicines are also not effective. But then how do you get them to do something which way they used to do before? So that is very
Actually, I mean, what you are saying is you are again considering the prayer in a very narrow perspective, which is
okay.
पूजा का पाठ करते हैं, प्रेयर करते हैं, भगवान के
Ha,
सामने
ha,
बैठते
ha,
हैं,
ha,
भजन
ha,
करते
ha,
हैं. So
ha,
that's, as I said, a very small, insignificant part of the
ha,
prayer that
ha.
cannot transform your life. That is not
Life.
transformational, which you are thinking it will do, but you have to
Ah,
go beyond that. As I mentioned
beyond
about
that.
your gratitude and other things.
Yes.
So unless you
Yes.
develop those qualities, so it
Ah,
just won't work. It won't purify.
yes.
It won't purify your mind,
Yes. Yes,
because
Dada.
purification
So
of
that
mind is
is
very important.
so that the
As
prayer
as
is
as I
only.
as I mentioned in my session, that the deepest prayer is often not asking anything at all. It is
Yes.
just opening yourself to transformation. Yes, confession chamber. I
Hmm.
confess, yes, I am wrong.
Yes.
Rather than
Yes.
asking why it is happening to me, you try to understand what is the lesson there for me. You take the lesson and move forward. That's the right way of doing it. Acceptance. So it's a much greater, wider perspective than, as you mentioned about the case about who does बहुत भगवान का पूजा पाठ करते हैं, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं.
हाँ,
But then beyond that, also there is life. It's
हाँ.
when I talk of prayer in here in this session, it's a way of life. Every time, every moment, as I said, sitting in the bus.
Hmm.
You should be able to take it to a level that you are enjoying in silent contemplation. You're resting in the presence of the divine, the presence of the divinity. So unless
Yes.
you take it to that level, all your depression will are there to stay.
It has got no use. It's no
Yeah.
use.
So it's not that you stop practicing or you stop seeking divine help. Because even in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna, mentions about the four kinds of yogis. I mean, where the bottom of the ladder is, where, they say, Bhagwan, ye kar do, wo kar do. So that's but then Shri Krishna says that he is also dear to me. He is also dear to me.
Yes,
So, but
yes.
the last form, the best is the who is a yogi. Bhagavan Shiva says, who is a yogi, he is dearest to me.
But that getting to that level is very, very, it's quite a steep ladder. It is
So
not an
steep
easy
ladder,
thing.
that means you will stop trying. So
No,
again,
no, 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 no.
again,
हाँ, ये ठीक
Arjuna also said the same thing, that boss, मेरे से इस lifetime में ये नहीं होगा. So
ये
but
नहीं
Sri
होगा.
Krishna
Yes.
says that no, you carry forward in your next lifetime. What you left off here, you carry forward in your next lifetime.
हाँ, yes, yes,
So
yes,
that's what it is. And you don't know when divine grace strikes you. That's the beauty of
yes,
it. So that's why I say never, underestimate yourself. You are, like Swami Vivekananda says, each soul is potentially divine. We are full of divinity. कहता है अद्वैत वेदांत में कहता है एक झटिका में जो है सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन कैन हैपन इन वन झटिका इन वन फ्लैश because
flash.
you are already
Yes.
there, you are already that.
It is there in you. It
It's
is there
already
in you
that, you just have to realize it.
to realize.
So,
Yes.
that God's grace, you can say that yes, हम मेरे इस जन्म में तो नहीं होगा, like you said, but you don't underestimate God's grace. And once you start getting it, once you start enjoying the company of the divine, it's a beautiful feeling. Let me tell you.
Thank you, Dada, again for the lovely,
Yeah.
lovely
No,
insight
no, no.
into prayer and gratitude.
Yeah.
Please press,
Thank you so
keep us
much.
informed on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So it's almost 10 o'clock. So I think that's about all. It's been almost 1.5 hours. I am doing this buck. Right then, I think let's all continue our prayers and lead a spiritual, blissful life, and feel as they say, prayers can, they can move mountains. I mean, that's how the saying goes. It comes from this thing in the Bible, but it says prayers has got the capability to move mountains. So that's the capability of the prayer. So let's all try to realize that. Let's try to transform our lives so that you enjoy the company of the divinity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dada. Namaste.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, there were so many comments. Many thanks, many thanks. Brinda says, please share this prayer also so that we can practice every day. Yes, I will share the guided meditation maybe here. Mohua says, wonderful session, wholeheartedly. Thanks, Dada. Thanks for being there. SN Burman's excellent meditation session, most apt topic, nicely explained. Thank you so much. Lata ji, I would have loved to hear you, but then you say thank you very much for the beautiful session. Spiritually became one with radiology for me, with all parts of atom, making images and helping to make life, health, and spirituality. Proton plus electron plus minus neutron. Anyway, I have to understand from you maybe. My gratitude to you, Mr. Bose, and to the Almighty for being part of this spiritual path. Thank you so much for being there. Onurupa Jhumpa says, wonderful session, so much inner meaning and deeper spiritual connection. Sure, we can all make this spiritual connections. We all are capable. We just don't try good enough. Anindita, many thanks. Awesome session. Thank you so much. Lataji says, isn't the level of your carry forward karmas responsible for these understandings by various individuals? Yes, not everybody is fortunate enough even to listen to these spiritual teachings, forget about practicing them. So we all are, all should consider ourselves fortunate to listen to these things. And it definitely depends on your karma. Satinder, prayer has to be from the heart, sincerely, yes. Sharda Sharma, I really don't know. No, not GPS prayer is not asking anything at all, explains it all. Yes, very important, not asking at all. So next time you go to a temple, remember it. And gratitude is the key. Thank you. Rotin, need to drop on Indita. Thank you. Great.